Today we are going to discuss one of the greatest contributions of India in the 20th century, Mahatma Gandhi, to the world. We are going to discuss his ideas in different areas and more importantly, we are going to evaluate them. I think his greatest contribution is in politics. Has been a great innovator in politics. Truth and non-violence that he advocated. By truth, it is not about not speaking lies. It is not just about being frank. It is not that actually. Truth to Gandhi is a kind of a potential in every human being to be good. Man has potential in him to be good. And that potential has to be ignited through non-violent resistance. So truth is a potential and that should be ignited through non-violence. So between the two, he gave importance to truth. And not non-violence. And you know that actually in a way this is a application of principle of Jesus, but on a large scale, on a scale of systems. So this kind of approach calls for, and this is what Gandhi normally does. He takes a high moral ground and mobilizes opinion. Mobilizes opinion and makes the other person think he is bad. And in this entire thing, he maintains hate-free relationship. So Britishers thought that they came to civilize Indians, like white man's burden, but Gandhi exposed that they were bad. It makes them uncomfortable. And he does it with mobilizing others' opinion, using media. So, exposing the evil through moral force, and that is supposed to transform the people, are the evil-doers. What all this does is that the resistance takes a high moral ground. Without high moral ground, it fails. And it is non-violent, which means mass participation is possible. And a kind of a compromise, bargaining, negotiation is possible. The non-violent movement is more or less under the control of the leader. And so This leads to peaceful transformation, inclusive development, and in the case of India, it led to training of people in the non-violent protests, which contributed to strengthening of democracy in post-independent India. And Gandhian methods were studied in detail by many other rebels all over the world, and they tried to adopt Gandhian methods to suit their conditions. Where did Gandhi get these methods? He got all of them. He learned all the techniques in South Africa. In South Africa, he learned to protest against an unpopular bill, mobilize people, voluntarily face violence, go to jail. Okay. And then there also he learned developing ashrams where similar-minded people can stay for a cause, and writing newspapers, magazines to communicate his ideas, and then all-inclusive participation. He got people of different communities, different castes, and women. He would like to include more people through these methods. And then he sets an example that is worthy of following. His very high personal example. It's a case of moral leadership. How could he become so in South Africa? Because he was a lawyer. He went to South Africa on a professional work because he was not doing well in India. He had certain ideologies, and there was no challenger to him in politics. He was the one who took up the causes, and others followed him. So in an environment where there was no challenge to him, there was no political participation, he took the lead, applied his methods, and learned while applying them, and developed. Probably if he was in India, he wouldn't have had that opportunity to develop them. But how did he get these ideas at all? That is going back to his childhood. Basically, he's a boy, is a truthful boy, and he did all kinds of bad things like smoking, stealing, non-veg taking. And then somehow Gandhi, as a boy, felt that he should confess them to his father. And when his father was ill, he wrote these things on a slip of paper and gave it to his father. And his father read them, and tears flew. His father did shout at him. And Gandhi felt touched, forgiven. Gandhi says that was his first experience in transformation through non-violence. And Gandhi, the area Gandhi lived was Jain influenced. So Gandhi took up this issues of non-violence. Then he used to follow the stories of Satya Harishchandra and Shravan Kumar. So he imbibed the spirit of service to others and speaking truth. So that's what he was. And then he was never good at studies. Then he went to Britain, and before he went to Britain, he had to take certain oaths, and he gave these oaths to his mother that he would not touch women, he would not touch liquor, and he would not take non-veg. Indians make such promises, but they don't try to keep them. But in the case of Gandhi, it was different. Not touching liquor, not touching women are not serious issues, but not touching non-veg and staying in London won't be that easy. But Gandhi wanted to stick to them. And Gandhi was not eating properly, and somewhere he came across vegetarian society in in London. So vegetarian society those days in London, definitely a club of crazy people, and that is where Gandhi went, and there he came across variety of people. That's where he was exposed to Bible, Gita, spirituality. That was his flowering of his personality. And that's how he started learning things for himself. And then he came to India, a disaster as a lawyer, and so he took up a case and went to South Africa. So, and meanwhile he read Tolstoy, Thoreau. Actually, he maintained personal contacts through letters with Tolstoy. So the idea of resistance through non-violence, that others can be transformed. He picked up these ideas and then applied them in South Africa. So by the time he came to India, he was somewhat popular because of the success in South Africa. And then in India, he took up some small local level causes, Champaran, and 2-3 causes like that. And then only once he gave a big all India call, and that was a disaster. So his first successful, well-led movement was non-cooperation movement, and much later civil disobedience movement. So that's how he learned, experimented, got some name, and then he came to India and tried to apply them on a large scale. And we know he was hugely successful. An inspiring example for his unusual and innovative methods and bringing spirituality to politics, bringing religion to politics. He's definitely an extraordinary man of 20th century. That's about politics. Next, after all, Gandhi is not just a politician. Gandhi is a great man. So we need to look at Gandhi in terms of what he said in other areas. Philosophy. Gandhi's ideas on certain aspects of philosophy Gandhi believed in self-control through food control and thought control, and he was obsessed with controlling sex. He worked hard and hard and hard. When as an old man he experimented with his nieces to see whether he was in a position to control his sexual urge. And when he had wet dreams, he wrote about them in the articles, in the newspapers. So Gandhi thought that he should control these urges, and this somehow leads to spiritual progress. He didn't see that effort to control in fact strengthens them and puts in a personal conflict within oneself. So it is some people like Krishnamurti who talked about how the self-control businesses can be very destructive and counterproductive. But Gandhi did that. He was obsessed in controlling. He didn't see that they were natural and there should be harmonious link. Right? He was trying to control, suppress. So, I think his philosophy is defective. Coming to social issues, caste. Gandhi's biggest blunder is the way he thought of caste system. Gandhi thought caste system is fine. And untouchability is bad. He had many debates with Ambedkar. Ambedkar thought caste system is bad and untouchability is bad. And from caste system, untouchability came, according to Ambedkar. But Gandhi was not against caste system, but it's quite a strange thing. And Gandhi for many years, he did not advocate inter-caste marriage, not even inter-caste dining, because he thought, what is wrong with caste system? It's simply nothing but occupational specialization and inheritance of skills. Such views were deeply offensive to Ambedkar. Ambedkar had a very, very poor opinion of Gandhi. He didn't think Gandhi was Mahatma. He didn't think Gandhi was a great man. And it is not only Gandhi's views, Gandhi's actions that were even more offensive. When Britishers announced separate electorate to depressed classes, and when Ambedkar wanted, Congress said okay, they don't have an objection. But Gandhi, who was in jail, went on fast unto death. This fast unto death itself is a bad idea, because that's nothing but blackmail. According to Gandhi's spiritual opinion, fasting is supposed to cleanse a person spiritually, not just physically. Cleanse a person, and that is supposed to enhance his power to transform others. But this is blackmail. Had Gandhi died, there would have been violence against untouchables. But but that was not the only reason why Ambedkar yielded in the so-called Poona Pact, where Ambedkar agreed for reservations and enhancing the number of seats and the dropping of separate electorate. Ambedkar also introduced one very important concept. Primaries. Ambedkar wanted untouchables to elect their own leaders. So, according to Ambedkar's scheme, in the primaries, they will elect their own leaders. And if they elect 4, these 4 will contest in a reserved constituency, to be elected by the general electorate. So Ambedkar wanted primaries and dropping of separate electorate and reservations. He wanted to have primaries when separate electorate was not accepted. And Gandhi agreed. But on the basis of primaries, only one election was held, and after independence, these primaries also were dropped, and only reservations remained. And so Dalit leaders were the leaders, not really elected by the Dalits, but appointed by the upper caste people. So had there been separate electorate, or had there been primaries, Dalits would have emerged as a independent force much earlier. And I think Gandhi blocked that process. Definitely that is how many Dalits view now, and some historians view it. And that shows Gandhi was very conservative. He thought it was something like a Hindu affair, and upper caste people should be generous towards lower caste people. He didn't see the entire caste system is exploitative, and what mattered is not religion or the unity of Hinduism, but the emancipation of the lower castes. And it doesn't matter whether it is Hinduism or not. It is, that's how Ambedkar thought, and Gandhi didn't. And Gandhi's views on caste and very, very regressive. And that's why he is quite unpopular among Dalits now, and Ambedkar became very popular. So if Gandhi has less of future in India, it is because of his views on caste system, the way he blackmailed Ambedkar. So these are bad. So that shows Gandhi's deeply conservative views on religion. But of course, Gandhi has unorthodox views on religion. For example, his interpretation of Gita, that it doesn't advocate violence, and the Mahabharata is nothing but the battle between good and evil in the mind, and not the actual war on the field, is a different interpretation. So Gandhi interpreted Hinduism differently, but when it came to caste system, it's very orthodox. But at very fag end of his life, he accepted that inter-caste marriage and inter-caste dining should be there. But it was too late. So deeply orthodox views he held on caste system. Gandhi's views on economy, horrible. See, the idea of simplicity is good. The idea of one should try to lead a simple life, because I think it is a matter of quality of life. One should be interested in higher things rather than consuming more material things. So this obsession with GDP, obsession with growth is not necessary, and simplicity is good. It is good for environment, good for happiness, and it has a great value in itself. So we are not criticizing Gandhi's idea of simplicity. We are criticizing some other ideas. Gandhi wanted village self-sufficiency. In that village self-sufficiency, village is supposed to produce everything that it requires, it seems. He said that of course it can't produce salt when it doesn't have an ocean nearby, but otherwise it has to produce everything itself. And Gandhi felt that not only village should produce all the things it needs, but even a family should produce all its needs. And that's why Gandhi thought that everybody should do this spinning to produce one's own cloth. Horrible idea. Modern economics believes specialization is the key. Specialization contributes to production, quality, productivity. And specialization and trade is important. A village should produce what it is best at, earn money, and buy what it wants. That is the way. That is the way for higher production. That is the way for productivity. That is the way for growth. But Gandhi didn't know that specialization and trade are important. Ricardo pointed out. So Gandhian position is anti-Ricardo, anti-specialization. The idea of self-sufficiency is wrong. And this idea of self-sufficiency is finally at the national level became self-reliance. This again is wrong word. Nehru rejected Gandhian model of village, but then for a nation he has a model of self-reliance. This is again anti-trade and anti-Ricardo position. A nation can specialize, should earn and then make money and then buy goods from other countries. Open economy helps. But Gandhi's was closed, Nehru's was closed. Not that at that time their model was right and now it is irrelevant, but even at that time it was theoretically defective. But even now Gandhians glorify this village development. Village development is not a bad idea. Village development should be. Anna Hazare's village is good, but that village is not closed. It makes many things, sells many things to the town and makes money. It should be like that. So what I am objecting to is the isolation and closing of the village and not village development. Village development, a must. It should be. And definitely India is ignoring its villages. There is no doubt about it. But to think of development in terms of isolation and closing and an anti-trade position is wrong. And the second thing is about technology. Gandhi's views on technology are again horrible. Gandhi of course said that I am not against technology, I am not against machinery because after all a human body also is a machine, something like that he said. But then he felt that when you are introducing technology, you should introduce such a technology that doesn't displace labor. That is the wrong idea. Because technology may displace some, but then human beings are more than the technology and they can do something else. Technology can contribute to more production and more employment. But Gandhi somehow believed that technology shouldn't displace. He didn't see if technology is in a position to do something, let technology do and let human beings do something else. These are all wrong ideas. Do you know, at one time India debated whether we should introduce computers in banks and railway stations. Because what happens to the clerks in railway stations? What happens to the cashier in the bank? See, what happened? When computers are introduced, more production took place, more growth and more employment. So Gandhian idea of anti-technology is banned. If technology is in a position to do it and let humans be trained to do something else. So this also contributed to faulty economic thinking in India. There was one cartoon by R.K. Lakshman. He was introducing R.K. Lakshman, one manager of a public sector industrial enterprise, is explaining to visiting dignitaries that see, this industrial unit doesn't produce anything, it is meant for employment. See, meant for employment, it doesn't produce anything, it seems. So you should provide work. What is happening to the production? Whether the production is coming down, it doesn't matter. That is the wrong idea. If industrial enterprise to produce, if technology is a better alternative to human being, let technology do it. human beings can do something different. So Gandhi's dreams seem to be more primitive. It takes man backwards. So Hindu Swaraj, the book he was proud of, full of all such irrelevant, useless and positively dangerous ideas. Unfortunately, many Gandhians think that that's a great book and that's how we should move. It doesn't lead to moving forward, it only takes us backwards. So, economic ideas, very bad. Basic philosophy of control, bad. But very innovative in politics. But leaving area-wise, what kind of a person Gandhi is? I think he's truly a great man in the sense that he explains things very clearly. He expresses his views. If I are critical of him, it's because he explained his views so clearly. Not many explain. And then he constantly searches to find the truth, constantly experiments. He never takes his opinion as final. So he has that quest for truth. It's a great quality, an extraordinary honesty to reveal what he thinks of the various issues and then the way he behaves, and absence of gap between thought and action in most cases. And so his experimentation and honesty, quest for truth, make him definitely a man worthy of emulation.